Okay, as we have looked at these trig graphs, we've talked about a basic graph, but we haven't dealt with graphing one with a change to amplitude, period, midline, etc. So if you just see this number in front, this 2 there, that is your amplitude. So for this first one, it has an amplitude of 2. The midline is anything that's been translated vertically. So in this case, my midline is y equals -1. And domain for any sine graph will be all real numbers. And then the range will go from the minimum to the maximum. Now, we can find this after we graph, but what I can do to think of a minimum or a maximum is a maximum would be my midline plus my amplitude. So -1 plus 2 would be 1. And then my minimum would be -1 minus 2, which would be -3. So that is what I can figure out so far. The one I've skipped over is the period. The period, I have to use my b value. B is the number in front of x, so this is an understood 1 since there's nothing multiplied beside that x. And for the period, I'm going to always do 2 pi divided by my b value. So 2 pi divided by 1, in this case, is 2 pi. And anytime you see a plain x, they have it stretched or compressed that horizontally at all, you know the period's going to be 2 pi. Now, one note I've put down here is it's best to use the value of the period to affect how I label our graph. And here's what I mean. I know that I'm basically going to divide any sine or cosine graph into 4 pieces, and I have 4 little tick marks here. The last one I'm going to make equal to my period. So this is going to be 2 pi, and that means the one halfway between that will be 1 pi. And if I wanted to label the others, this would be a pi over 2 and a here, and a 3 pi over 2 here. And basically just use the value of your period to figure out your fourth mark and then work from there. If the fourth mark's 2 pi, the second mark has to be half of that, 1 pi, and you can fill in the others if needed. A lot of times I don't even fill in that that first and third mark. Now, the next thing I need to realize is any sine graph is going to start at my midline. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch my midline at -1. And once you sketch your midline, the sine graph is going to start at the midline, and it's going to increase first, so it's going to go up to your amplitude. So it's going to go up 1, 2, and that's actually going to be your maximum value of 1. So that's why some students find it helpful to figure out that maximum before you do that. Then it's going to go back down to your midline. Then it's going to drop down to your minimum value. So I'll go down my amplitude again, 2 more, and that's where the -3 comes in, and then back to 0. If you wanted to make more than one cycle of that, you could just continue your pattern where you go up, middle, down, and so on, and you could make that go as far as you want. You could even go backwards just by saying, oh, I'm going, middle, top, middle, next thing in the pattern's bottom, back to middle, back to top, and so on. And you can fill that in on this side as well. But one cycle is sufficient as long as you have this part of your graph here, you'll get full credit.